Many more workers are expected back to work tomorrow as the country enters into alert level 3 of the lockdown to stop the spread of COVID-19. But Rea Vaya has its proverbial hands full. Workers and bosses there are headed for a standoff. One of their workers has tested positive. It confirmed that he contracted the coronavirus. Now, some employees say they will not return to work as they fear for their health. Our reporter Lindo Kosekulu is in the south of Johannesburg, Midlands, and he joins us now. He's actually on a Rea Vaya bus. Lindo, very good morning. Good to see you as always. Now, looking at the bus that you're on at the present moment, you can see they've got signs on certain seats that they're saying a person can't sit here, no sitting there. Talk to us about that. Is that because of social distancing?
That's right, Tony. This is the testament. This goes as a testament, rather, to the fact that the transport sector has been trying to reinvent itself, particularly, juxtaposing itself for the COVID-19 coronavirus. So, as we understand, buses are only allowed to ferry 50 people, and this is the evidence that they have been trying to find ways. Of course, Rea Vaya is one of those companies that has gotten a thumbs up from the transport minister to say that they can, in fact, operate under lockdown level 4. But as we move down to lockdown level 3, there is concern around the fact that there's now a reported case of COVID-19 from one of the drivers of these buses. And we're trying to get a sense now of what exactly does that mean as the country prepares to move to lockdown level 3. And certainly Gauteng will be calling upon all of its stakeholders in the transport sector to give them the services of ensuring that all of the stakeholders in those particular economic hubs that will be opening are catered for. And we're speaking to now Mr. Nelson from who is the CEO of Litamai, so the company that provides Rea Vaya with some of their drivers. But sir, thank you so much for joining us. Confirm to us about the fact that there's a reported case of COVID-19 among your drivers.
Thank you so much, Lindo. Unfortunately, earlier last week we had a case where one of our drivers tested positive for coronavirus. This happened after the normal screening that we do on a daily basis here at the entry point of our depot. And after checking his temperature, it was found to be beyond the level that is required for a healthy person. He was then referred to our GP that looked and tested him, and after the test on Tuesday, we then informed that he is tested positive, and that resulted in us conducting what is called tracing checks to check all his contacts that he's been with. And unfortunately, in that case, we also picked up that he had been in contact with about 37 of our drivers, and those drivers were then also sent home for self-quarantine. And our doctor and our health practitioners are in regular contact with those drivers, including the driver that tested positive, who is also at home on self-quarantine, and making sure that they do not show any further symptoms in terms of the coronavirus. The driver, the fortunate part is that he stays alone. So he's just at home, and he's been at home now for the past 7 days. And he has not, his health has not weakened, and there's no reason for him to be taken to the hospital. Further to that, we had to close down our head office to make sure that we bring a team to disinfect the building, and that has been going on, and our building will only be open in the next 24 hours.
Talk to us about the fact that there was, some reaction invoked by this, particularly from the unions themselves, saying that their drivers must bring back the buses. You've had engagements with them. Tell us what's the latest in terms of the workers who didn't want to continue working here.
Unfortunately, because of social distancing issues, we were unable to convene meetings, and this means that we cannot communicate properly with our employees. And as a result, when this news broke, to some of them, it was very worrying. It created a lot of anxiety. And upon engagement with their labor, then they decided to go on work stoppage yesterday. We had several consultations with labor, and we agreed to strengthen controls measures to make sure that we contain the virus. And after those discussions and the agreement that has been put in place, and then the employees were then able to come back to work. So for now, our operations is running. We'll be back tomorrow to make sure that we fulfill all the transport requirements for all those people that will be going to work under level 3. And unfortunately, we'll have to maintain the 50% seating capacity. As you can see on our buses, we have made sure that only one passenger per seat that will be allowed in the bus, and everybody that will not be having a permit that shows that they need to go to work, unfortunately, will not be allowed to go into the buses. So it's only those that are going to work. We are putting all our buses on the road. We've got a fleet of over 300 buses. All those buses will be put on the road tomorrow.
Speaking about the fleet and the fact that you'll be operating from tomorrow, one of the growing concerns from some of your commuters was the fact that they are not timely taken to where they want to go. But just take us through what are the measures then put in place, since the only 50% is allowed in some of your buses?
What we have done is to make sure that we amend the timetable and also make sure that we put more buses on the road. And also, only those people that are required to participate in economic activities will be allowed on the buses. People that are going for recreational activities will not be able to get into the buses. So those are some of the measures. And we're also making sure that each and every bus, when it leaves here, it gets sanitized or disinfected. And we're also making sure that all our drivers, and in certain points where people cannot sanitize, especially the passengers, we have sanitization that is done in those points and all our stations.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Nelson, the CEO of Rea Vaya, the company that provides the drivers for Rea Vaya, taking us through some of the measures they will be putting in place for level 3. But quite concerning was the fact that there is a driver that has contracted COVID-19, but they are saying that several drivers have since been also told to self-quarantine, and are tracing all of them. And what is happening is that they will be continuing with some of those activities tomorrow. In fact, they're saying that they'll be putting more buses out there to ensure that the demand is met, particularly with the fact that many of the commuters had been complaining about longer waiting times and getting to work late. So they're saying that they're ready to meet that demand, even despite the fact that they have several drivers at home because of a contraction of COVID-19.
Thank you so much, Lindo. It's going to be interesting to see as well how they police that 50% capacity when it comes to so many people returning back to work tomorrow. Lindo Kuhlekulu there reporting for us on a Rea Vaya bus in Meadowlands in Johannesburg.